Hi everyone, this is Rich, the Legend Board Game Fanatic. Today we're going to be doing Heroes 3, the board game. This is represented by Heroes, the software game that used to be on computers, and I used to play when I was younger. Not into it anymore, but I really like the mechanisms when it comes to the game itself. I played already with my nephew and also kind of practiced with the campaign version of the solo play for the core box. Now, there's 11 expansions in this, and this is huge. I got two big boxes, and I've been going through all the different expansions, and I found an introductory scenario in the second box that will go through the basic rules of how to play this game and show you how everything works. That's what I want to do first, and set up the game and show you how that's done. Okay, there's a lot of mechanisms in this game. I like the game. It kind of reminds me just a little bit because of the tiles and moving around the different sections of it. It's also got deck building. You also have a little bit of dice rolling when it comes to finding special things that are on certain tiles. There is combat, and there's different ways of doing combat. You can do it with the battle board, you can do it with the regular board with cards. There's so many things that you can change in the game and also there's an adventure mode. We haven't gone to that yet. There's 11 expansions total I counted for in the box. And that doesn't mean it has maybe 10 to 12 scenarios, so that's a crazy amount of scenarios that you can play. I think the one me and my nephew it took us like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe, to finish, and that was a competitive mode. So that's another thing. It's competitive, it's cooperative, and it's solo. And then you have adventure mode. You also have tournament mode. That's another aspect of the game. But we're going to show you the basic rules today on this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you have not joined my channel yet, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, please hit the like button afterwards. I would appreciate it. And so I'm going to set up the board, the map and everything, get everything ready for the scenario, and then we'll get into the introductory scenario, and hope you enjoy learning the game of Heroes 3. Okay, so we have our first. We're going to explain game setup, how we set up. I pretty much got everything put in its place, but we'll go through it just to make sure you understand. Now, the first thing you want to do is set up your map, and the map's already set up, ready to go. We have my player, who I'm going to be the judging player, purple, and he starts here, and this is his main space, and we're setting up his guy at the starting tile on top. This is the Necropolis player, the new other player, and he's going to be starting at that point. Okay, and we basically, whatever it tells us what tiles we use, we get those. The ones that we face down, we always mix up. We don't know what they are, so that's what we have set up. Okay, combat board. This right here, this is used when we do any combat, when we use our cards for all our people that we use for battling, and we'll go into that soon. We have our neutral units cards here. These are from less strength to strongest, and it's red, silver, yellow, and then blue. And later when you do expansions, you'll add more cards to this to give it more variety, and then that's where all the expansions come into focus. Right now we're just using the core sets. We have specific monsters that we have already set for the core set, so we're good to go. We also have long gate cards, and these are used when you develop the building where you develop walls and gates. You can use these cards to protect yourself for a period of time. The other player has to attack those walls and take them down before they can come and attack you. That's what those are for. We have our tokens, we have our coins. It comes in 10s, 3s, and 1s. We also have our wound tokens for all our monsters and also for us to make sure that how many wounds we have during battle. We have our stone resource. We have our crystal resource. And the crystal, the stone, and the coins are going to be used to develop our buildings on our building board and also develop more special abilities that we'll get from those buildings we build. So you need to get those resources, and you'll get resources. We'll go into the phases of how this goes in, and we'll show you how that's done. So that is those tokens. We also have our black cubes that we use for items that we visit, and when somebody visits it, it's marked so nobody else can visit that space. We have our action markers, right, and then we have our our defense tokens, and if you get paralyzed, you will get a paralyzed token. That's not good for us, so we'll see if that comes in effect. We have those. Then we have our faction board. Our faction board basically tells us a few things. First thing is going to tell us which level we're at. Right now we're going to be starting at level 1. We get 4 cards total to use during a round. And then it also gives you starting cards for your starting deck that you develop at the start of the game. And we'll explain how you do that in a second here. So that's what the faction board does for us. It also tells us when we can have our cards become stronger. We can use 1 special ability and 2. We can use on level 4. We get 2 special abilities, the stronger special abilities from our cards, and then 6 we get 3, and the maximum level is 7. So, and that's determines how many cards we get per round too also. Alright, so we basically start with our red star building, because we can use our red star combatants that we can use during combat. Those are the only ones we can do. The other ones we have to upgrade our buildings to get those. So that will be shown in this scenario later on. We also get 2 tokens on our building board. 3 tokens, sorry. 1 for building. We also have population where we get more compounds to use if we have the resources to do that. And that's another way we with gold and other resources, if they need to make them stronger, or even to get us even more compounds for that specific card, we can flip it over. Because right now we're a few. There is a thing called pack, and pack gives you a little more life level points, so it stays in combat longer. And then we get 20 cubes each to use to mark our maps here when we get specific spaces. And that's used for resources and stuff like that when we do our resource phase, when that comes up. Alright, so we got those cubes. Next thing we do is we place our guy on our starting tile. We already did that, showed you that already. You got your faction units already set. I already set them up. Right now we only have red. We place a black token on our round marker. Right now we're on round 1. So that's where we start. Oh, one thing I forgot to do is shuffle the astrology program cards. We will do that here after I finish up the setup. I forgot about those cards. I have to get those out of the box. We separated our abilities, our spells, and our artifact cards. And you can tell by the ones that are face up, this is our discard pile. And you could always purchase the one here if you want, or let's say for example, you go to a space that says draw 2 cards. You can either draw 2 cards from the top or pick the card that's on the bottom if you want that card. Then you find the statistic cards, and they are black faces, attacks, knowledge, power, and defense. And that's what develops your starting hand. You have those. You also get a specific ability card for your character. Matari gets tactics, and she also gets a spell sheet card for dragons. So that we have set up. Alrighty, and this is our starting. That's how you develop your starting deck, and then you shuffle these up. You don't know what they are when you start the game. Alright, so I shuffle them. The same for the other character. It's already developed that already. Taking care of that. We have on our building board, we also have a resource counter. Right now, both of us have, during resource time, we just get 10 gold. I think it's 1 crystal and 2 stone. But later on, you will increase those up when you get other spaces to increase your resources. We start with 15 gold each, 4 stone and 1 crystal. We already have set aside our characters here. Says, and then we do give both the 3 unit cards from these sets of faction units. These are the unit decks. Make sure the cards non-holographic size without the text pack are facing up. These are the starting units for the scenario. You then separate from the rest of the faction units. You cannot find the red symbol in the upper right corner of the unit card. So basically, we're going to have 3 cards each. The rest of these cards we haven't built yet, so they have to be separated. So I'm going to put those over here. Same with these guys. Separate those, and I'll put these over here. Okay. Alright, we did that. And I shuffled all the decks. We got our discard piles set up, ready to go for our spell, artifact, and our ability decks. We also have our combat dice. We have our resource dice, and we have our treasure dice. And we'll get to that when we get into the scenario. Alright. We also have the rulebook. And we may refer to this during this introductory scenario to go through some rules, but I have it set up here. We also have a player's aid that shows how to move on the map, your round steps, combat round steps, and your player actions on the back. So this is kind of really good. I am going to develop a new reference guide because this gives you a simpler version, but there's some things that are missing. I feel that if I have an updated reference card, it'd be easier. So if I do develop before the end of this video, I will post it on the description so you guys can print it out. Okay, to help you guys out. Alright, normally what's going to happen next is we're going to roll our resource dice. 2 resource dice, and we go and see who goes first. So like I would get 6, and then Tamika got 5, so he would go second. But the way this introductory scenario goes through, we're starting with, it looks like Tamika first, and then we're going to do my character. Okay, I'm not sure how much stuff we'll get to do by rolling. It may just go through some emotions first. Motions to show you the turns. So, oh, that reminds me, we need 3 action arrows, and it should be on green. So I'm going to place these on my character cards, and these is our 3 actions we can do during the game. Alright. Okay. So let me get, first of all, the other cards I need to get for the Pacific phase that comes up, and then we will, I want to go into that yet, the astrologers phase instead of the resource phase, and after we do that, I get those, I will come back and we'll get started on the turn rotation, show you how that's done. Okay, so we're going to go into our player turns. I'm going to read some stuff and then we'll go on to what we're going to have to do. So, Necropolis' turn. Let's get started. The Necropolis player is the starting player in the scenario. So we'll begin with the turn. The starting player never changes between game rounds, meaning the Necropolis player will always take their turn before the dungeon player. At the start of the turn, you always get to draw cards until you hit your current hand size limit. And right now, our hand size limit for being level 1 is 4 cards. For the purpose of this tutorial, however, the Necropolis player should not now draw all 9 cards from the deck instead. In the following rounds, the normal rules for drawing cards and maintaining the hand size should be followed, as explained later. Alright, so we're going to take all our cards that we have. Alright, so we have them in our hand. And so next, let's start moving the Necropolis hero, Tamika, around to explore and loot the nearby lands. Each main hero has 3 movement points, I explained earlier, presented by green arrow tokens. Take 3 of these tokens, they will help you track the use of movement points each round. Game elements may sometimes refer to the movement points with this symbol. It's the horse symbol. Okay. Moving a hero to an adjacent field always costs a single movement point. When moving, heroes can neither cross the yellow lines present on the starting tiles, nor any of the fields with a bold yellow border, which can be found on every map tile. Now, move the Necropolis hero model onto the field with the image of the treasure chest adjacent to the Necropolis town. As you perform this movement, flip one of the movement tokens over to the brown side. This token has now been spent for the round and cannot be used until it's refreshed at the start of the next turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip one of these tokens to the brown side. And then we're going to move to the treasure one, and the treasure one is right here. Okay. Let's look at the symbols on the field your hero just entered. The treasure chest symbol means you get to throw a treasure dice once your hero visits it. But the field also contains a Roman numeral 1. A Roman numeral 1 means that we're going to have to attack something in that field. This means that the field is guarded by a level 1 neutral army that you must now defeat in combat before you are allowed to collect the treasure. It's time to set up our first combat sequence. Okay. Alright. So, combat takes place on the separate 4x5 combat board. This is this one right here. Since you are the attacker who initiates the combat, you need to place your units on the board first before any of the defending neutral units are revealed and placed. Choose one of the sides of the combat board and place all 3 of your units in the back line on that side, as shown in the picture. In the future, you may place your units on both the front line and back line as you wish, but never on center line. Players may own any number of unit cards, but may only use up to 5 of them when combat begins. Alright, so we're going to use our first 3. Alright, and we're going to place these. Now let's sure it goes into... Okay, so, zombies, rats, okay. So we're gonna place our zombies, our wraiths, and our skeletons out. Okay. We set that up. Normally, now I want to explain something now before they even explain it. Is any ranged characters, anyone that's got a ranged attack, will always be set on the back line. Most of these guys that are out here now would be set to the front line in normal condition because they're all melee combat. Next, you need to determine the neutral units that are guarding the field. Normally you would do this by drawing random unit cards from the appropriate neutral unit decks. However, let's find and use a specific unit for now in the order to demonstrate some of the rules of combat. Look through the red neutral unit deck, find Harpy's unit, and place it on the combat board as shown in the picture. Okay, so we're going to get some Harpies out. Okay, we're going to get Harpies. And we're going to place these on the front line at this point right here. Okay. With the units on both sides placed, you are now ready to start the first round of combat. During each round, all of the units on the combat board take their turn, known as an activation. The order in which they activate is determined by the initiative of each unit card. The higher the number, the earlier in the combat round the unit activates. Note, whenever your units have the same initiative, you choose the order in which they activate. Whenever there's a tie between opposing units, the attacker, the player who initiated the combat, activates their units before the defender. If there are multiple units on both sides with same initiative, start with the attacker's unit and alternate between players. The Harpies have initiative 8, which is greater than any of the Necropolis units. They will activate first. Place one of the dungeon player's purple faction cubes on the Harpies unit to mark that they've been activated. Okay, so I'm going to mark that as being activated. We're using the dungeon player's cube for this since neutral units in class scenarios are normally controlled by the opposing player. Play tip. During combat against neutral units, an enemy player takes control of them. That's why we use dungeon player cubes to mark activation. When a player controls neutral units, they cannot use their own cards. Whenever a ground unit or flying unit activates, they can move up to 3 spaces and then attack the enemy that is adjacent to them. Range units work a bit differently, but we'll discuss them a little later. Since the Harpies are a flying unit, they'll be able to move and attack any of the Necropolis units. The high initiative of the Harpies is a bad thing for the Necklace player. But fortunately, you have a trick to use against this upcoming attack. The waifs are a good target for the Harpies. Move the Harpies next to them. Note that the units can only move octagonally on the combat board. Up, down, left, and right. Alright, so he gets to move 3. So okay, so he's going to be in here. I'm sorry. He's here. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3 units. Alright. The Harpies are now about to attack, but first the Necropla's player has a chance to use the cards in their hand to affect the outcome of the attack. Look at the 9 cards you drew earlier and find the 2 defense statistic cards. Okay. Got them? The top half of these cards has an instant symbol. It's a lightning bolt, followed by a +1 defense. The first symbol means that when the card is played, it will have an instant one-time effect. The second symbol means that the effect temporarily increases the defense of one friendly unit. That sounds useful. Let's ignore the bottom half of these cards for now. Play both of the defense cards on the race by placing them near the combat board to indicate they are in play. Now let's resolve the attack of the Harpies. Alright, so basically we're going to place them. We'll put them right here. So we got 2 defense. Okay, now let's resolve the attack of the Harpies. Whenever a unit attacks, its final attack value is modified by attack roll. Roll 1 red attack dice now and add the result of the roll to the Harpies attack. The Harpies attack is a 2. So we roll dice, we got 3. Depending on the roll result, the Harpies attack is now 1, 2, or 3. Next, reduce the value of the race defense. By default, the race have 0 defense, as shown on the card, but since you previously played the 2 +1 defense cards, its actual defense for this one attack increased by 2. So in other words, the die result in a +1, the Harpies attack is 3, which gives the race current defense of 2, means that now place 1 damage token on my race. Okay, so he's got 1. And he's got a total of 3 health. So that's good. The Harpies. Okay. If the result was smaller than +1, no damage is dealt. Either way, the race have been kept safe from being destroyed in the attack, which could have easily happened. If you hadn't played any defense cards, the result of +1 would have dealt them 3 damage and destroyed them immediately, since the race have a total of only 3 hit points. Next, let's take a look at the next text on the Harpies card. They have a special ability that is preceded by the attack action symbol. This means that the ability is resolved whenever the unit is activated and performs its first attack. Normally, when a unit attacks another adjacent unit, the defending unit performs a counterattack known as a retaliation. The Harpies ability, however, say that they ignore retaliation attacks, meaning that the race cannot counterattack for now. Furthermore, the Harpies ability also explains that they may return back to their starting position after moving to perform an attack. Move them back now. Wow. So they get to move all the way back here. And these are my discard pile. This concludes the Harpies attack and activation. At this point, any instant cards played during activation should be placed into the owner's discard pile. Create You discard pile for the next player with the 2 defense cards you just used. Let's move on to the next unit in order of decreased initiative, the Wraiths. Now it's time for them to strike back at the Harpies. Place one of the Necropolis player faction cubes on the Wraiths to indicate that they have been activated. So we take a gray and we put it here. Next, let's take a look at the Wraith's ability. It's preceded by an activation symbol, action, which means that the ability is resolved at the start of your unit's activation, which is right now. The Wraith's ability says to remove 1 damage from them. So if the Harpies have managed to deal 1 damage to the Wraiths earlier, you should remove it now. So we basically take this off and put it back here so we have no damage at all. Let's attack and destroy the Harpies. The Wraiths are a flying unit, 2, which means they can move up to 3 spaces before attacking. As flying units, they can also move through other units if necessary. Move the Wraiths next to the Harpies. Now, since you are about to launch an attack, you can once more play cards to modify the statistics of the Wraiths before the attack die is rolled. This time, however, you're going to increase the attack of the Wraiths to ensure that the Harpies are destroyed in a single blow. Play the single attack card from your hand just like you played the defense cards earlier. Now boost your unit further by playing the Dread Knight's specialty card, choosing its top ability, which grants the Wraiths another +1 to their attack roll. Alright, so we're going to take our attack +1 and our Dread Knights, and you're selecting it gains +1. So we're going to get +2 damage on this attack. So we're going to move these guys 1, 2, 3. Alright. And then we roll the attack die. And I got 0. So we got our attack is is 3, plus we got 2, plus a 0, so that's 5. And Harpy's got 4. They don't have any defense, so that's 0. Okay. So now we'll attack die and place the damage worth the damage tokens on the Harpies. Since you've received damage at least equal to their HP, they'll be destroyed and discarded from combat. Place this card next to the neutral unit deck to form the next deck's discard pile. Afterwards, discard the attack statistic card and the Dread Knight specialty card to the Necropolis player discard pile, which is created earlier. So this guy is gone. Let's put this back there. This guy's gone. This goes in the discard pile. Alright. And then these go into my discard pile. You immediately win the combat when all the enemy units are destroyed. Move all the surviving Necropolis units off the combat board to reform the player's unit deck. All cubes and tokens placed on the units are also returned. Okay, just noticed that the camera shut off on my battery again. It's notorious for doing that to me. Sorry about that. Just so you know, we battled the Harpies. We beat them. We roll the treasure dice because of the space that we're on. We got to level 2. We used the level increase off the treasure dice. And we also got a new ability card that gives us luck. And you can reroll a treasure die or resource die once during your turn. I put that in my hand. Okay, and then I'm going to take my cards back. And these guys all survived. Well, that's good for me. Alright. Put it back. Cool. And we also get to use one of our cards if we ever wanted to just the strong durability. So that's going to help us out a bit. Where were we at? Okay, so reaching a silver level always allows you to search the 2 ability deck, perform the search now, and place the new card directly in your player's hand. If you take a card from the ability deck, discard pile, which should then become empty, place the top card from the ability deck there to form the new discard pile. Don't worry, if you don't yet grasp all the ability cards work, how all the ability cards go, some of the iconography and games terms you may see on them will be discussed later. The player's aid at the back of the core rulebook, and it's this one right here, has some symbols on it. So, you got that. Lists the majority of the game's icons. You'll notice that the new card you just received was placed directly into the player's hand. This way you can immediately use the newly gained cards, which is something you should keep in mind while deciding which card to keep. When you play this card, it will end up in the same discard pile as the cards you previously played. When your Might and Magic deck runs out and you need to draw another card, you must reshuffle the pile into a new Might Magic deck to draw them. Let's now spend the second MP and move into the adjacent field. The one with the... This one, oh. Yeah, recycle and stone symbols. So we're going to use one of our movement, yeah, and we're going to move over here. This field is also guarded by a level 1 neutral army. However, since your hero's level is higher than the level, they'll be too scared to fight you. Whenever you enter a field where your hero's level is higher than the field's difficulty, the value of the Roman numeral, you will perform what is known as a quick combat. The enemies on that field are considered to be instantly defeated, and no actual combat takes place on the combat board. This also means that quick combat does not award you with any experience. Since you automatically won the second combat, you can now visit this field. The recycle symbol and resource symbols tell you that it's a mine. Mines are important locations that increase your resource income when you visit them. Place one of your Necropause faction cubes. Okay, so we're going to place one on that space. Alright. On the field to indicate that you captured it. This particular mine increases your stone production. So move the cube on the track on your Necros town board one space to the right. So now I'm going to be building 4 stone instead of 2. Also, since you're the first player to take control of the mine, it produces its income immediately. Give the Necropause 2 stone. Awesome. So I get 2 stone. So right now I can get a 3, and I'll take the 1 out. So that makes it easier for me. So now I have 6 stone. Capturing a field such as a mine is called flagging. If you visit a field flagged by an enemy, like a mine for example, you will flag it as yours and substitute your cube with yours. In doing so, you will increase your income of the given resource and reduce the enemies. However, note that only the first player to flag a mine receives any immediate production from it. Play tip. The bonus on your income is lost if you lose control of that mine. Move the cube on the corresponding income track back one space. Now let's use your last MP to do something we haven't tried. Another thing you can spend 1 MP on is discovering the adjacent 2-3 map tile over. You are free to rotate this tile however you wish before placing it back. Adjacent tiles do not need to be oriented the same way, nor do they need to have the symbols or artworks lined in any way. What they do need to have, however, is a path that eventually connects them to all other tiles. In other words, you aren't allowed to rotate tile so that the impassable fields completely block access to the new tile. So we're going to flip this over, and then I'm going to do this, and so we want to make sure that we don't want to have a yellow. Oh, this will work. This will work. This won't. This will still work. So either way it works. What am I gonna do here? Yeah, I go this way. No, I want to go this way. Yeah, I'll go this way. I'll place it that way. That's perfect. Okay. Just like that. Okay, cool. If you're unsure about what the best orientation for the tile could be, you may want to look at the field descriptions found at the end of this book. It's usually best to enter low difficulty fields first and to claim any mines as soon as possible. If you place the newly discovered tile, you're done with the first turn of your game. We are now ready to move on to the dungeon player's turn. Okay, so that'll be my turn coming up. Okay. Now it's my turn. So now it's time for the dungeon player to take their turn. As previous, draw all 9 cards from the dungeon player's Might and Magic deck and take 3 movement tokens. Next, spend a movement point to move the dungeon hero to the field with the mine symbol. Okay, what am I? Oh, so I'll move one of these up and move this to the mine symbol. Okay. This field isn't guarded by any enemies, so we can just claim the reward. Roll 1 of the gray resource dice and gain resources it shows. So 2 crystals. Awesome. So 2 crystals. So now I have 3 crystals. And because this one doesn't have the recycle symbol, that just means I received those resources at that point. Then I put a black cube on there because nobody else can get that space. So that's been visited. Okay. Now let's spend another movement point. Move the hero onto the adjacent field marked with Roman numeral 1. Okay, adjacent, so it'll be the one with the treasure. Okay. Another combat awaits. Just like before, place your units on the combat board first. Alright, so I got Troglodytes, Harpies, and Evil Eyes. So I'm going to put them Oh, so they're going to be placed here, here, and there. Okay? From line. Okay. Dungeon Harpies have an initiative 6. Okay. So now to do decks, I want to get the halberders. I forgot about that. I'm going to grab the two. Okay, got it. And these guys are going in the back line. So he's going to be placed here. Okay. Okay. The Harpies have initiative 6. So they activate first. Place one of the dungeon player's cubes on the Harpies. Okay. Then move the Harpies next to the Halberd to attack them. Okay. Though you could use some of the cards from your hand to help with this attack, just as you did with a Necroplast players, just see what happens when the Halberds survive the attack. Okay, so I'm going to roll a dice. So I can do 1, so we got 1. And he has no defense, so we got 1 damage. Okay. Roll the attack die, modify the Harpy's attack to the value of the roll, and deal the damage to the Halberds. The Halberds have no defense. So the attack die is the only thing that affects this attack. Since it's not possible for the Halberds to perish from the attack, and they are adjacent to the attacker, they will perform a retaliation attack. Basically, a retaliation attack works just like another attack. You are allowed to use your cards to affect its outcome as normal. The only difference to a normal attack or the retaliation cannot cause another retaliation, and that it does not activate any attacker's unit's abilities. Okay. Play one of your defense cards on the Harpies to make sure that they aren't destroyed with a lucky roll. Okay. So I'm going to use 1 defense. Okay. So we use a defense. Okay. They roll the dice. So I got 2. High defense to 0. That's 2. So I get 1 damage. Okay. As attack, place the black cube on the halberders. Okay. Now roll the attack die for the halberds attack and deal damage to Harpies as before. Oh yeah, I did that already. So now they retaliate only. Units can retaliate only once per combat round. Play tip. When a new combat round starts, all cubes marking activation and retaliation like are removed from all units. Now it's time to activate another unit, the Evil Eyes. Place a dungeon faction cube on them now. They are ranged units, so they're attacking a target enemy that isn't adjacent to them. Okay, so Evil Eyes. Okay. Okay. However, let's take them out of in style and practice using magic for the change. Find the card named Magic Arrow. Okay. Okay, I'll take this one, gets in my discard pile. Being a spell, this card has some additional rules for playing it. First of all, you can only use a single spell per combat round, so for instance, we will not be able to play two separate copies of Magic Arrow, one immediately after the other during this combat. Secondly, a spell has 3 effects varying in strength, shown just below the middle of each spell. Middle of each spell card. The topmost effect is usually free to use, as indicated by 0 within a circle, whereas the second and third effects require you to empower the spell by giving an amount of power when casting the spell. You can use any number of cards granting the power bonus to make it more powerful. All spell cards also have an alternate effect that can use instead of casting the spell to empower another spell. Magic Arrow has an activation effect, which means that it must be played at the start of your unit's activation. It deals 1, 2, 3 damage, depending on the amount of spell bonus you use to empower it. Play the card now to deal damage to the enemy halberders. If your harpies have managed to hit them for 3 damage already, there's no need to empower the spell. No. Otherwise, play the power card from your hand to increase the magic damage to 2. Okay, so I will. Alright. So that gets 2. If the spell leaves the halberds with 1 hit point, you can attack them with the evil eyes to finish them off. A ranged attack from this position will function just like any other attack we've seen so far. We'll take a look at additional ranged attack rules later. Remember to create the dungeon player's discard pile with all the cards you've just played. Okay, so Oh, okay. So I can use my spell first. So that gives him 2. Alright, then I can attack with evil eyes. Okay, so I get to roll my attack die, and I got 0. So that gives me 3, and then these guys gone. Alright. Halberds are now destroyed and you win the combat. Discard them to the discard pile. And move the dungeon units from the combat board. Alright, so these go back. And take these back. And put this back here. Alright, and then this goes in my discard pile. Retire now gains experience mounting to 1. Alright, so he's going to get down here. Okay. Then I roll a treasure dice. And I get a resource. Roll resource dice. And I get 4 stone. 4 stone. Okay. All icons you can find on the die are explained in the back of the core rulebook. Yeah, resource die. Spend your last MP to move the hero back to town. Okay, so we move back to town. Alright. This concludes the dungeon player's turn as well as the first round. Good job in following along so far. Alright. Okay, so now we're going to go into playing out the rest of the scenario. Okay, so at this point, you should be familiar with the flow of the game enough to play out the rest of the scenario on your own. There are, however, some additional rules that you might want to have covered before you venture off for your own. Below you will find a list of topics that are relevant for the scenario. Each topic also contains a play tip that provide examples and some advice on how to play. Starting a new round. Now that both players have taken a turn, it's time to start a new round. First, move the cube on the round tracker and place it on the space mark 2. The fact that the cube was moved onto the bottom space with a sextant on the backdrop indicates that we are now starting what is known as the astrological round. You should now draw a resolve, the top card from the astrologer's proclaim deck. These cards have various effects that affect each player equally. Read the text aloud and follow the instruction on the card. Discard it after it has been used. If you drew a card whose effects you do not understand, draw another one instead. Okay, so I'm going to take a card. I think I'm going to throw these over here so I have room for a discard pile. Alright, astrologers proclaim Week of Merry Leprechaun. At the beginning of the next resource round, all players gain 1 crystal. A flavor test. I wasn't aware that Leprechaun's gold vanishes. How could it be else when you just have taken it from me? So we get 1 crystal on the next resource round. Cool. At the beginning of the 3rd round, the cube will move back to the space mark 3. In the upper part of the round tracker with a crystal cluster in the backdrop, meaning that it will be the resource round. When the resource round starts, each player gains resources according to the production value on the income tracker on the town board. The round types alternate in the way for the rest of the scenario. At the start of each round, you must also refresh your movement points. So we're going to refresh these. Okay. As well as the town action tokens and expert effect users, which are explained below. Play tip. It's important to spend resources wisely. Since you gain them every other round, at the start of any scenario, the smart money is usually on building up your army. Winning the tutorial scenario. The primary objective of both players is to defeat the other one's hero in combat. When you enter a field occupied by another player's hero, you start a combat. Starting a combat against another player works nearly identical to starting a combat with a neutral army. First, the attacking player places their units, then the defending player does so. Since both players' heroes are present, they are now both allowed to use the cards from their hands.
Play new combat rounds until one player loses all of their units. Player with any surviving units wins the scenario. If the final combat doesn't start at the end of round 8, then it starts automatically after the dungeon player's turn on that round. In that case, the dungeon player is considered to be the attacker. Note that there are some additional rules, such as surrendering 2 other players, and will omit for now as they are not relevant to the scenario. Play tip. Since the attacking side units win any initiative ties in combat, it's more beneficial to be the attacker. Try to plan your movement ahead so that you can have the chance to start your final combat yourself. Town actions. Let's talk about how to develop your town and buy new units. There are 3 types of town actions, each represented by the different token on the town board. Build, population, spellbook. They are used to expand your town, to recruit new units, and to buy new spell cards, respectively. Town actions can be taken at any time, but not during combat. This means that they can also be used on other players' turns. You can even use one right when combat is about to start, meaning that you are allowed to take these actions as a reaction to another player's attacking you. To use a town action, flip its respectable token over its inactive side. The build token allows you to add one new building to your town board. When you build a new building, place this cardboard piece into the appropriate slot on the town board and place costs and resources. The resource costs of each building are written on the back as well as within the empty town board slots. You may notice that some building slots have 2 building names and costs printed on them. This is so because the upper building is the prerequisite to the one below. When you build the first of the 2, place the piece in the slot so that it shows the name and cost of the building you have yet to build. Dwellings which let you recruit units of various tiers must be built in the order of increasing unit strength: red, silver, yellow. The benefits granted by each building are shown in the town board. The population token lets you add more of your faction units to your unit deck. When you use the token, you are allowed to buy any number of new units as long as you have enough resources to pay the recruitment cost and have appropriate level of dwelling in your town. Add your newly purchased units to those already in your unit deck. You always recruit units on the fuse side. They can now be used in combat. A population token also allows you to reinforce units. When a unit is reinforced, its card is flipped from the weaker fuse side to the stronger pack side. To reinforce a unit, in addition to an appropriate dwelling, you must also have the citadel building. You are allowed to reinforce as many units as you want to. You can reinforce any new units immediately after recruiting them. Reinforcement cost of each unit is shown next to the recruitment cost. If a game effect, such as a card's test box, tells you to reinforce a unit, you do not need to own any of the prerequisite buildings to do so. Reinforcement units that take damage equal to that HP are downgraded back to weaker fuse side and must be reinforced again later with another use of the population token. Any damage that were dealt while on the pack side and that exceeded the HP is carried over to the fuse side. Keep a good count of the damage tokens. The third possible use for a population token is to hire a secondary hero, which can be done instead of recruiting or reinforcement units. This, however, isn't allowed during the scenario. You can learn about secondary heroes from the core rulebook after finishing their introduction. The spellbook token can be used after you built the Mage Guild building, but not during the same round when the guild was constructed. When you use the token, pay the cost and search the spell deck as instructed by the town board. Each town action token is flipped back to the active side at the beginning of each game round, ready to be used again. Play tip: building the citadel or the silver dwelling as your first building is usually a smart move. Prioritizing the ability to strengthen your army will give you an early edge in combat. Buildings that give you new cards are better later in the game when your hero's hand limit is higher. Since this is a short scenario, it's less likely that the additional income provided by the City Hall is enough to make up for the cost of building it. Getting a mage goes smart if there's a powerful spell in the spell discard pile, or if there are many cards supporting spells in your hand. More actions. One more action type you can perform is the morale action. When you gain a positive morale or lose morale, take a morale token of the appropriate type. You can only have one morale token at any time. Any token of the opposite type discards them both. The positive morale token may be discarded at any time to perform any one of the actions listed below. If you should gain a second positive morale token, you may immediately spend the first one before gaining the second one. Draw a card from your deck of Might and Magic. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards from your deck. Reroll a die you just thrown. Negative morale doesn't have any adverse effects on its own, besides preventing you from gaining a positive morale token. But if you gain a second negative token, you must discard your hand at the end of your turn. Important. The Necropolis faction cannot gain or lose morale in any situation. This means that in this scenario, only the dungeon player is affected by effects related to morale. Play tip. Discarding cards to draw a new hand is an extremely powerful effect. Consider saving a positive morale token to use this action in case you draw a bad hand. Level effects and hand size. Now let's take a closer look at the different effects of leveling up your hero and how their hands should be managed from now on. You've already seen that silver levels give you a new ability card. Similarly, the gold levels 4 and 6 give you a hero-specific specialty card. When you reach one of those appropriate levels, add your hero specialty card of the appropriate level to your hand. The symbol cards determines your hand size. At the start of your game, it is only 4, but levels 3, 5, and 7 increase it by 1 each. From now on, when you start the turn, you may discard any number of cards from your hand before drawing up your current hand size. If the number of cards you're holding at the start of your turn exceeds your current limit, you need to discard down to the limit before even considering discarding more to draw new cards. Since we drew some additional cards in the first round, you will have to discard at least some of the extra cards when you continue playing. If you need to draw from your deck but it is empty, reshuffle the discard pile into the new deck of the Might and Magic. The symbol crown shows how many expert effects of the cards you can use during each game round. Track the number of uses you have left by placing black cubes on your hero card or taking them off. The Necropolis player had already gained 1 since they reached level 2 on their turn. Some cards, such as defense cards we played earlier, have a stronger alternate effect shown on the bottom part of the card, below the crown symbol. Use the strong effect instead of the regular cost one of your crown uses. You regain your expanded crowns uses at the start of each game round. As you've seen, defeating a neutral army of the same difficulty level as your hero grants 1 experience. If you defeat an enemy of a higher level, you gain 2 experience instead. Then if you win a combat involving blue neutral units, you immediately reach the highest level your hero can attain, which is level 7. Defeating another player's main hero in combat also grants you 1 experience if they are the same level as your hero, or 2 if they are a higher level. Play tip. Remember to use your expert effects. Most cards can double the effectiveness that way, and many others have possible unique effects. Card effects. You've already seen a few ways of using the cards from your deck of Might and Magic. So far you've played some statistics, specialty, and spell cards. We haven't played any ability or artifact cards, but all of their effects should become clear once you read this section. Let's take a look at a couple rules related to handling your cards and the rest of the symbols that you can find on them. First of all, cards can only be played on your turn or during combat that was started against your hero. Since cards represent the different powers and items of that hero, it is possible for them to affect combat they aren't participating in. Secondly, it's impossible, for them to affect combat that they aren't participating in. Secondly, new cards are always placed directly into your hand unless stated otherwise. Occasionally, you may be instructed to remove a card. When you do so, remove the chosen card completely from the game and return it to the box for the remainder of the scenario. The cards in your deck of the Might and Magic can have the following effects. Instant effects with the lightning bolt. One-time effects that are resolved immediately. They can modify a unit's statistics during a single attack or provide resources for you. Activation effects must be played at the start of the unit's activation during combat. Map global effects cannot be used during combat. Ongoing effects last until they are used up as described on the card, or until the player who played the card starts their next turn, whichever happens first. If the card affects combat, for instance, by modifying a unit's statistics, it must be played at the start of the unit's activation. Note: the Necromancy ability card can only be used by the Necropolis player, as indicated by the skull symbol. If the dungeon player draws this card when searching for the ability, you may discard it and draw another card in its place. They can also choose to gain it, but they cannot play it. Note: additionally, if you play the Diplomacy ability card's top effect, when you have a yellow dwelling, you also reveal a blue neutral unit that you may recruit. Play tip: during combat against another player, you are allowed to use the instant cards in any order. You are always allowed to play your cards as a reaction to cards played by the opposing player. This means that you can go back and forth several times when playing out the cards during your unit's attack. Neutral units. From now on, when starting combat against neutral armies, the defending neutral units are chosen randomly by drawing cards from the appropriate neutral unit decks. Shuffle each of these cards now, but leave the Harpies and Halberdiers in the discard pile. The units drawn for each combat are determined by the difficulty of the field, indicated by its Roman numeral. If you take a look at the back of the mission book, you'll find a field difficulty level table. Okay, what is it? Okay. You may have to get the core mission book out. But you'll find the field difficulty level table. This card pertains to types and numbers of units regarding the given field. Difficulty of this scenario is normal, meaning that if you start combat at a level 3 field, for example, you will draw 2 red units and 1 silver unit as your enemies. Neutral units are always controlled by the opposing player, who also decides where to place them after they have been drawn. However, note that the ranged units must be placed in the back line. When neutral units activate, you must always attack an enemy unit, and if they cannot, move as close to the enemy unit as possible. The controlling player may not play cards from their hand to help the neutral units, as their hero does not take part in the combat. Some effects, like the ones on Diplomacy card, allow you to add neutral units to your unit deck. Neutral units cannot be reinforced, as they are single-sided. Whenever a neutral unit is defeated, place it into the appropriate neutral unit discard pile. Play tip: since you are in control of the neutral units that your opponent fights against, you can try to use them in smart ways to cripple your opponent's progress. If you can destroy any of their units, they will have to spend the resources to recruit a new army. Also, if the combat lasts for multiple rounds, I'll have to spend additional movement points to prolong it, as described below. Okay, and then we got combat, and I'll go through that if we need be. And location types, I'll go through those if we need to go through that. That's it. Those are the rules. So, alright, so I'll keep that. I'm going to come right back. I'm going to grab the mission book, so I got the chart. And then we'll get started on the next Necropolis' turn. See what he's going to do. Alright, and we'll get to it. Alright, so the Necropolis player. Let's see what we're going to do first. Well, first thing he needs is a Citadel. I'm not sure he's got enough yet. So he's got $8. He's got 5 stone, and he's got crystal. So he's gonna move, and he's gonna move in here, in this town, and oh wait, I'm sorry, he doesn't have to move his town. I forgot. He's going to use his build. So he's spending $8. So I'm going to get 2 back. And he's going to needs how many gold? He needs Citadel, he needs 5, so he gets 1 stone back. Okay. And 1 crystal, so he's done there. Alright, so he's gonna get a Citadel. So he's got a Citadel now. Okay. And Citadel, what it does is unlocks reinforcing units when under siege. Have 3 walls, 1 gate, and 1 arrow tower cards to the combat board. Well, at least he's got protection. All right, and so I can reinforce my units if I want. And if I want to do that, I need some gold, and I don't have any, so I'm gonna have to wait on that for now. All right, so I did that. I don't have the next level, so I can't do any recruiting. Spell wise, I don't have the Mage Guild yet, so I can't do the spell book yet. All right, so then I'm gonna move. Looks like I will move, and I'll move into this spot so I can get +2 gold or +1 crystal, but I need to fight against a level 2 neutral characters. So let me see. I need to. It should be in the back of the mission book. Oh, here we go. So level 2 will be 2 reds. So I'm going to take my guys and place them. So I'm going to put this guy here, this guy here, this guy here. Okay. And then I get 2 reds. Well, I'm going to shuffle these. I got. Let me shuffle these cards. Shuffle what we got. So. Okay. 2. So we got a marksman, and we have a skeleton, and the highest initiative is 5. Oh, that reminds me. I want to put these in initiative order. So that's 3. Okay. So I got them in initiative order. So Grace go first. So he can move 3. So he's got a 3. 3, 3. So it doesn't matter which one to do. I go 1, 2, 3. So I can go right here and attack him. I'll do that. So I'll roll a red-sided dice. And I get 3. So that's 0. Wow. Okay, so we defeated him because he has 0 defense. And he's got 3. Those guys are gone. But good thing is I get to reinforce one of my guys. So I will reinforce my Wraiths to a pack. Awesome. Well, you know what? I'm not going to do that. No, why would I want to do that? I'm going to reinforce my zombies. Okay. Now he can move 3. Oh yeah, so that means this guy's already gone. There, alright. And then the zombie's gonna move because they got, oh, I'm sorry, wrong. They don't move first. Marksman's gonna attack. And he's gonna, okay, so he's gonna attack. Attack his Wraiths. So he's gonna attack me with the Wraiths. So I got -1, so we got 1. So 1 damage on the Wraiths. Okay. Okay. And then now the zombies go. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Okay, and he gets attack 2. He got 0. I should have used the attack. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to have 4 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, supposed to get 4 dice. Oh, that's right. So all these have to be reshuffled. I got. So I have to do the same thing with the other guy too. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, so I could still pick something if I want. I have it. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my magic missile first. I'm not going to attack yet. Magic missile. And that gives me 2. Well, no, 3. So 3 damage on him. And that gives, he's dead. He's gone. Well, this guy's gone. Boom. And he's on my discard pile. Alright. So, this goes away. Oh, wrong spot. And back. These all go back. And I got 1 reinforced. That's pretty cool. Awesome, man. Okay. And this is my discard pile. This is my hand. I'll put my hand here so I don't forget. Okay. That's the first thing. So then I put This can be black. So, okay, and I get 2 gold and 1 crystal. I think I'm gonna get gold. I'm gonna get 2 gold. Alright, plus I get to go 1 down. Okay, the same thing. Alright, and then where I want to go next? Can't go there. I think he's gonna go move 1 more here. And now they're doing 3. So for 3, I have 2 red and 1 white. So I'm going to put these back. So this is 5, 4 and 4. Okay, so 2 red, and I'm gonna shuffle the whites. I already shuffled the whites, so it doesn't matter. He didn't use the white. So 2 reds, and we got a 7. Wow, initiative. And a 6 and a 3. Okay. Okay, and I got 5, 4, and 4. So first, the nomads are going to go first. Okay, so he's going to move, and he gets an attack of 3. So he's going to attack the wraiths. So he got 2. The defense is 0. So got 2 points damage. Okay. Okay, and 6 is next. So then he's so I think I'll take this off, and then he gets to move 3. He's gonna attack the zombies. Or does he want to attack the? Oh no, he's gonna attack the skeletons. So he's gonna roll a dice. He got 3. I can 2. And then I'm got I have a defense. Yes, I do. So, and I'm going to use. I'll use my power. Use a 2. So, I get 1. So that gives me 2. So I got 3. So I got 1 damage on me. So 1 damage. Okay. Alright. Alright. 1 damage. 1 damage, sorry. Okay. Now it's going to be the zombie's turn. Oh no, Rave's turn. Rave's turn, he's going to attack. Okay, in activation, I'm going to take one off, so I'm at 1. And then I'm going to attack and see what I have left. That won't work. Okay, so he's going to attack for 3. And he got 3. That's 2. So 2 damage on the nomads. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, first of all, he would have moved 1, Jason. This guy would have moved 1. Yeah. I forgot to move 1. Okay. Okay. Now it's the zombie's turn. He's got attack of 2. So he's gonna move here, and his ability is the attack resolved to 0. Okay, doesn't matter. Right now. So he's gonna roll a dice. You got 1, so you got 3 damage. You got 0. You got 2. He's says at the beginning of each resource round, gain 3. Oh, okay. So this guy's gone. Okay. And that's my turn for zombies, so I have to put this guy's done. This guy's done. This guy's done. Attacked. 4 and 3. Oh, rogues. He already did his turn. So the skeletons will attack. He's gonna attack the rogues. And he got 1, so we got 3, 2. Alright, so 2. You got 2 damage. Alright. Okay, and that's the end of that round. Do I want to do it again? And I do. So I will flip my last movement and we'll start again. So those nomads will attack. He will attack the race. So he's going to, at the end of your turn, move your hero. Okay. And he's going to move. He got minus 1. So we got 2 points of damage on me. So that gives me 3. Alright, so the race are gone. So these guys go into my reserve now, so it's not, I have to buy them again. Alright. And then he can move to a space that's empty. So I'll move here. Okay. And then this guy is attacking. So he's going to attack the skeletons with 2. And he got 0. So he attacked 2. I got 1. So I got 1 defense. So I get 1 damage. The skeletons do. Got 1 left. Alright, and then the skeletons can retaliate. So he's gonna roll. And he got 3, 2. Oh, these guys are gone. The rogues are gone. Alright. And that's that. And rogues go in here. Okay. Alright. And then oh, these guys hasn't attacked yet. He got a 4. So he's gonna move. And 1, 2, he's gonna attack him. 2, he got 3. Defense is 1, that's 2. Oh, he's gone. Awesome. Alright. So that was 1 above what I am, so I get 2. And these guys come back in my pile. Alright, so I get 2. So I'm at 1, 2. Plus, I get that space, so I put one of my things on here. And I go up 5 on my resources. So I'm at 15 now. Awesome. Okay. And that is my turn. I'm done. Okay. So that is the Necropolys's turn. He did a pretty good turn that turn. Alright. So what am I going to do? Let's see. So level 1. So I could go down and do that one. Or build some stuff. The first thing I'm gonna do is build my citadel. So I get each. And I need 5 stone and 1 crystal, so I get 2 left, 2 more. Okay. And then I got my citadel. Okay. Alright, and then, let's see. I can do my population. So I think I'll do the troglodytes first. I'll put this over the pack. So I need to spend $3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I did that. Alright. Now I can do my turn. So I'm going to first go. I guess I'll move here. So that takes 1 red. So I'm going to take a red. So I'm going to put these guys down. So I got my evil eyes and put back here. And I'll put 6 and 5 here. And these guys are 5. Okay. And then I get 1 red. So that will be a race. He's got 7. Okay. So he's gonna go first. he's gonna move here. He's gonna attack my harpies. He got 0, so we got 2. Oh wait, I need to shuffle my cards too. Sorry. Yeah. Let me do that before we forget. I'm gonna get a defense. Use. Okay. Okay. Don't have any defense. So you got 2 on me, so I get 2 damage. Okay. Okay, so then he's gonna retaliate. He got 2, so he's got 2 damage also on him. Wait, maybe I won't do that. I should just. Oh, shoot, that's in my retaliation attack. That's right. So I'll just give him 2. He's gonna die here in a second anyway. So 2. Now I'm gonna attack him with my. So he's done. So then I'm gonna attack with my harpies. And I'm gonna attack with 2. I just need 2 more. So I think I'll just, it's only one guy. So I'm gonna attack with all 3 of these. So that's 3 attacks. So 1, that's 4, 5, 6. Of course he's gone. Alright. This is on the start pile. Oh wait, 1, 2. He's going to discard pile. Okay, and this is gone. This guy gets put in the discard pile. And these guys go back in my units. Okay. And so I get to roll a treasure dice. I'm gonna get 2 resource dice. So I get 4. I can take 4 stone. Okay. Let me make sure of that though. Oh, so I do get to pick. So I got 2. Oh. Resource dice. 16. Double check at 16. So I got 6. No, 6 total. Sorry. Yep. So you get 6. That's pretty good. Alright. Okay. And then I get, that's black. So I put this at black. And then I'm going to move 2 more spots. That will be my other 2 units. And I will attack this guy. Oh, plus I get 1 here. Do I really want to do that? Oh, okay. Yes, I do. Because I automatically will get 2 stone. So I will be at 4. Automatically get it. And that plus I get to roll I get 2 stone out of that, so we get 2 more stone. Okay. And that's my turn. Alright, so let me go on to this one, resource phase. So each player is going to get 2 on crystal. Okay. So 1 crystal each. Alright, I get 10 gold. Ward stone. 1 crystal. 1 crystal. She gets 15 gold. 15 gold. 4 stone. Okay, and 1 crystal. Okay. Alright, and then we flip these all over. It gets flipped over. Okay. Okay. And then it's going to be this one I can't use, so just go to that one and get 4. 2, 3, 4. I can use this. Not really, so we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Alright, so now it's going to be the Necropolis's turn.
Well, I think this is a good stopping point for the first part of Heroes 3 Introduction module, and we'll get started on part 2 and finish it off. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, and if you have not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. But I will see you guys back here at part 2. I will start filming it tomorrow morning. I'm going to get some sleep and hit in the morning, finish it up, and get. We still have a total of 5 rounds left, so we will get through that in the next part. And hope you all are having a great weekend. So see you soon. Bye.